On today's TRED Talk, we're covering an interesting lawsuit that was brought to Georgia Tech in the United States, a university institution from the United States Justice Department. What is suggested here is that the folks at Georgia Tech who are responsible for executing audits, being prepared for, I've said this completely wrong, not executing audits, but being prepared for audit and meeting what their regulatory expectations were. Those folks that were responsible for that, a whistleblower states that much of that information was forged and falsified, or that they weren't actually doing the things that they were saying. And now, I gotta be careful with how I say this. I think Georgia Tech is probably not alone in this, which is the way I want to say it. Doesn't mean that I think it's right. Doesn't mean that I think that it's how it should be. But it's unfortunate for them that they're the one that had a whistleblower and they're the ones that are undergoing this lawsuit, because I think it's an extremely common occurrence. All the time I hear organizations in the IT space talking about how they are experiencing a lot of stress and pressure around regulation, in addition to the idea that the goalpost for regulation continues to move, whether it be new regulations or old regulations that aren't being held. It's a lot of inconsistencies and uncertainty in the space. So it doesn't surprise me to hear that something like this would be pencil whipped. What I hope it does is shine light on the fact that regulation is extremely important, but to do regulation right requires consideration of what the business is going to have to do to be able to operate effectively, so that when that regulation is defined, it can be honestly expected to be held up, so that then if somebody doesn't meet those expectations, some kind of follow-up like this or some kind of legal action like this is really reasonable. Now, I do believe that this is reasonable. And what will likely happen is it will likely be made into a news story, and they'll probably have some kind of fines, and all in all, it won't be, so damning for Georgia Tech. But it does need to be something that shows, like, hey, our education institutions are really important. These are our children and our future, and we need to take that seriously, among a bunch of other cybersecurity core points. So that is today's TRED Talk.